Three straight for the Big Ten, three different teams. And the third would have been difficult to predict even after an 11-1 regular season last year. But Indiana has accomplished what nobody else has in the history of college football. 16-0. Is the Big Ten the best conference? That is tough to debate, tough to argue at this point after the likes of Indiana and on down the upper ranks of the Big Ten and what they accomplished, not just in the national championship game, but throughout the playoff and also throughout the postseason. Welcome into the Big Ten Live Show. This is our final edition. So if you want to get a final jab in on me or Corey, we've left the link there in the chat. And you can let us know what you think about the wrap-up of the college football season, but specifically in the Big Ten. Corey Bradder right next to me, of course, from the Hawkeye of the Storm, and we are brought to you by FanDuel. Corey, your thoughts about the national championship game?
Yeah, great for the conference. I mean, exciting. I didn't really think about the fact that three different Big Ten teams have won the national title, and it seemed like there had been a long drought, right, prior to that, the Big Ten not winning a national championship. So now the Big Ten needs some more success in March for college basketball, men's college basketball. That would be good for the league. But so you're, based on what you just said, I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. You're of the opinion at this point, without diving deep into the numbers, that you think the Big Ten is the best conference in the country?
So I try to balance out measuring every team in the conference exactly the same, saying what Purdue does at 2-10 is just as important as what Indiana does at 16-0, and including all of it equally. I balance that extreme with the people that say, well, it just matters what happens in the national championship game or in the playoff and the rest of these, these 7-5 teams. It doesn't matter what they did. No, count the entirety of the conference performance, but give bigger weight to the games that really matter, that are for championships and for, big bowl games or whatever the case might be, big non-conference games. So when I weigh it all without diving deep into the numbers, and I saw a metric today that somebody posted on Twitter, some college football site, that the SEC, despite a 4-10, which means 2-8 against everybody else, postseason record, still had, based on this formula, and just because somebody's got a formula doesn't mean that the formula is accurate or valid, but that the SEC formula still, the formula itself still spits out an SEC number one ranking as best conference. But man, when you watch what Indiana did and then consider that Ohio State took them to the wire, then you consider Iowa took them to the wire and performed in the postseason, and on and on and on. Again, if you're going to give more weight to what happened during the postseason versus what happened in September, that's obviously even more going to play into the Big Ten's argument.
What did happen in September? Because it's been long enough. It's been a long enough wait, because I believe you should weigh what happened in September. I don't think you can just cancel that out. I know Iowa lost to Iowa State in a close one. That didn't help the league. Illinois beat a Duke team that wasn't very good. And now Duke, by the way, what a mess. That's the second quarterback that's getting sued by their institution because of this crazy portal NIL world. But anyways, Illinois won that game against Duke. You had, Michigan State lost to Wake, correct?
No, Michigan State beat Boston College.
I'm sorry, beat Boston College. Why did I think they lost to Wake? Beat Boston College. Wisconsin got their pants pulled down by Bama, right?
Yes.
Which, I mean, I don't know how much you look at that, but that did happen.
Oh, I weigh the seedings into it. Like if Wisconsin would have lost to a like-seeded team in the SEC, let's say Mississippi State, then I consider that a more valid result than Bama, who goes to the SEC championship game.
Yeah. And the problem is Indiana played nobody non-conference. Oregon played nobody. Oregon blew the doors off of a horrible Oklahoma State team, a really good FCS team in Montana State, but FCS nonetheless, and then an Oregon State team that's just not what they were even a few years ago. So hard to evaluate them. Indiana did nothing in the non-conference. Ohio State played nobody, right?
Texas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? That's the
They beat Texas.
best win.
Yeah, it's the best win in the conference.
Best win in the league. Yeah. Penn State played a nobody, right? Okay. Michigan played nobody.
Lost to Oklahoma on the road.
See, this is why I'm just doing all this by memory. Yeah, I'm not good at this kind of thing.
But, well, I churn through this stuff all the time.
But that loss to Oklahoma hurt the league.
Yeah, absolutely. The three games that hurt the league in terms of putting more teams in the playoffs were that Iowa lost to Iowa State, Michigan lost to Oklahoma, USC lost to Notre Dame. USC and Michigan win those games, they're in the playoff, both of them.
But it was really important to the league that Ohio State beat Texas. That was a very important win. And nobody cares about Michigan State over BC. Nobody cares about, Illinois over Duke in general. Although Duke did end up winning that league.
They won the ACC.
So now you look back and you're like, well, that actually was a pretty good win to go down there and to Durham and win. I mean,
and win by a lot. Win by 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. So no, that's maybe that game, now it deserves a little bit more importance. And who did Maryland play?
No one.
Okay. And then Rutgers played
no one.
Maryland,
Rutgers, Indiana, Penn State, those 4, no one.
Yeah.
Northwestern played Duke. They did lose. They lost to Tulane as well, and then rebounded to have a nice season. Minnesota lost to Cal.
And Tulane did make the playoff. It's like, I know that they're G5 entry, but they did make the playoff. So I'm not going to punish Northwestern that much for that loss. That's a game that most Big Ten teams wouldn't schedule.
Now, of course, UCLA had that starting
UNLV
of their season that was just a Trojan. UNLV and New Mexico.
I was going to say San Jose, but no, they lost to New Mexico. You're right. And hey, I'll tell you what hurt. Minnesota losing to Cal.
Yeah, I just brought that up.
Okay. I didn't hear that one, but yeah. So, yeah.
And Nebraska beat Cincinnati. Not much there.
Well, I mean,
7-6.
I know, but that was at least a decent enough win to start conference play or non-conference play.
Well, Corey, we've got 2 calls coming in here.
Yes,
go right.
No, I just wanted to ask you about Purdue. Purdue played
Notre Dame, and but that was it.
They at least competed with Notre Dame for a while, right?
No.
What do you mean no?
They lost like 56-30 or something like that.
Okay, well, they put up 30 against. I'm just saying, like,
I think that was the score.
It was something like that. That's what I remember.
And Purdue, I thought they scheduled somebody else. Purdue has been scheduling like 2 difficult games.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know, but
I know people think I'm crazy. I said it preseason. I think what Oregon did with the non-conference schedule was fascinating. The problem is it ended up being just horrible quality of a non-conference schedule. But in normal years, Mark, Oklahoma State, Oregon State, and Montana State are actually 3 very entertaining games. And let's not forget that was coming on the heels of that same team almost losing to Idaho State the year prior, or at least being tested by Idaho State in September of 24. So
absolutely. Okay, we got a couple calls coming in. We'll take these in order. We got the real MVP showing up.
Yeah, just to answer, the Big Ten in the regular season against Power 4 competition went 5-7. In the postseason, they went 6-4. They finished 11-11. Best win percentage of every major conference yes?
I saw an 11-5 postseason record posted today.
No, I'm talking against Power 4.
I know you are, but did they won 5 games against G5 teams?
They won at least 4. I don't know the 5th one.
Well, name the 4.
James Madison.
Yeah, name the 4. Washington beat Boise.
Hold on. Can I name the 4?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Washington beat Boise State. Minnesota beat New Mexico. Oregon beat James Madison. Northwestern beat Central Michigan.
There's 4.
I don't remember the 5th one, but those are the 4. I don't think there is a fifth one, to be honest with you. I think the stat you found was fake news.
But they were 11-5. Oh, you know what it was? You're probably not counting the conference win against itself.
That is correct.
Yeah, they were probably counting Indiana, Oregon.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because that game improves the Big Ten nothing because you take away from Oregon. And
it also counts as a loss.
Right, yeah. It counts as a win as well.
So
I know. So they didn't go 11-5; they went 10-4.
Right.
Yeah.
But against Power 4 competition, it's 6-4.
6-4.
So it equals out to 500 in conference play for the Big Ten overall, regular season and postseason, which is the best win percentage, but is second most in total wins behind the SEC, which win 13-14 in Power 4 non-conference play.
What's your point?
You negated the conference matchups.
Yes, Alabama, Oklahoma.
So
for
your
example.
Your point is that the SEC played more difficult out of conference games. Is that what the point you're making?
My point is in doing this is the SEC in general played more difficult schedules in the regular season.
So I'll ask you this. I'll ask you this then. I'm just arguing for the Big Ten side. If I'm an evaluator of these two conferences, is there greater weight when evaluating the leagues? Is there greater weight given to the conference that had a few more games against Power 4 teams, or is there greater weight given to which teams had the best success on the big stage, specifically playoffs, specifically national championship?
Well, it depends on what you value. And this is what I've told Mark. If you believe when you define best conference, it's what the 3 or 4 best teams at the top do, then the Big Ten is clearly the best conference. They've got the 3 best teams by
I'm not doing that. I'm saying when you look at it, I'm saying that has to be taken into account. It doesn't mean you just look at the top of the league. I'm saying, okay, we have this record, we have this. How much weight do you give to each criteria? That's what I'm asking.
I mean, I give a pretty sizable weight. I can't give you a mathematical thing saying I give 62% of weight to that. It's subjective. That's what I'm telling you.
The other issue with what you're bringing up, and we addressed it at the beginning of the show, Darrell, is that, for instance, you have a matchup between Michigan State and BC that you're weighing equally to Ohio State, Texas. Is that fair?
Well, I would actually argue from a metric and resume and seeding standpoint, the Michigan BC game has somewhat more validity than Texas Ohio State because you're having a 9-0 Big Ten team go against a 6-2 SEC team. Meanwhile, you're having a 1-8 Big Ten team go against an 0-9 ACC team. So in terms of more
BC did not go 0-9.
They won a game?
Yes, they beat Syracuse.
Oh, I'm sorry for missing that one, Mark.
No, that's why I'm here. 34-12, by the way.
Okay, so Michigan State winning in double overtime 42-40 against Boston College does tell us a lot about the bottom of the league compared to the ACC's bottom.
Good job on the score there.
Yeah, no problem. I thought I'd flex that since you were flexing Syracuse Boston College on me.
So yeah, I guess what I'm saying is there's got to be different weights of criteria given to weights of value to each criteria. It's not just black and white. Like we don't just say, well, that game didn't matter, that game does. And I do believe personally that there has to be substantial weight given to the national champion, especially now that we have a playoff format. I just think it's as far as who the best team is, it's less subjective, obviously, because you have more teams involved, etc. So there has to be pretty good weight given to that. I don't know that you can really, like, for individual teams and evaluating where a team ranks nationally or even within their own league. Yeah, looking at who they played and who they didn't play. Like Indiana didn't play anybody in non-conference, but you and I aren't going to debate that Indiana is the best team in the conference and the best team in the country.
Right.
So why would we, real quick, why would we, when evaluating the league, use Indiana's lack of non-conference scheduling against the league? You see the problem with that?
In the regular season, I think it's completely fair to bring up the point that...
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because what you just said, we're all in agreement that Indiana was the best team in the regular season, regardless of what happened in the postseason. But what you're bringing up The SEC played more out-of-conference games against Power 4 competition. You're using that against Indiana. You're using that against the Big Ten, which includes Indiana, and Indiana's part of that. It doesn't.
I still hold on. Before the
can't do that.
playoffs, I think there was a debate between who was the best team between Indiana, Ohio State, and Georgia before the playoffs happened.
Indiana beat Ohio State on a neutral field right before the playoffs occurred.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know. And there was a lot of Ohio State fans and people in particular saying things
Right.
like, well, this game was basically meaningless for both sides of the game. Ohio State saving up for the big run in the playoffs, where this is Indiana's biggest game in their program's history up to this point. Georgia at the end of the season, after beating Alabama 28-3 or 28-7, they had beaten everyone on their schedule that they had played up until that point. So I do not think going into the playoffs, it was clear-cut Indiana was the best team. They were in the collection of top 3 teams, but I do not think it was just, well, Indiana's going to run away with this thing. I mean, Matt Zimick was on here before the Alabama game talking about Indiana being a particularly weak 1 seed. So this idea that Indiana were retroactively saying, well, they were this massive juggernaut is something I don't think is fair. I think this is post hoc rationalization on your part, Corey.
They're not but you don't believe they're the best team in the country?
Right now they are. They prove it.
But they weren't 3 weeks ago. So
They hadn't proven
any
anything.
degree of hindsight with that.
They hadn't proven
They
anything.
have now.
They have now, but-
And
okay.
they beat everybody in the regular season, and they have now. So how
Okay.
can we possibly not say they were the best team all year? They
I-
have now.
Okay. Right now, they are the best team, and they have proven it because they won major
won
non-conference
Let me
matchups.
just explain something to you. They won by double figures at Oregon. Okay. They
Yeah.
won at Iowa State, at Iowa. They won at Penn State. They beat Ohio State at the end of the regular season. Who am I missing here, Mark? They won.
That pretty much covers it.
Did they play?
Before
They
the
didn't play
playoff.
Yeah, before the playoff. I just don't know what else. What else are they supposed to do?
Well, I mean, they did. They're at the end of the season. There's usually 2 or 3 teams who have maxed out, and we don't know who between those teams because there's so few non-conference matchups. You look at Georgia going into it before, they had beaten Ole Miss, they had beaten Georgia Tech, they had beaten Bama. They have a very comparable resume going into the playoffs as Indiana.
Okay, but again, it doesn't matter because now we've seen the playoffs play out.
I
So,
absolutely agree with that.
I'm just simply saying, going back to the original point, you can't sit here and use criteria. Well, the Big Ten played less big non-conference games than the SEC did when Indiana's part of that, and they're clearly the best team in the country. So that does not necessarily mean just because you're not playing good teams in the non-conference does not mean you're not as good as the next league. You
Right.
cannot say that. You cannot say, well, Alabama played 2 non-conference Power 4 opponents. Indiana played 0. So, I'm thinking Alabama's probably a better team than Indiana. They might be, but nothing's been proven until they start playing that competition.
But doesn't this also same logic could apply to the ACC, the Big 12, and the G5, who avoids everyone? Like, you look at Toledo's schedule as an example. Their best opponent was Kentucky. If they win 12-0, we can come on here and say, well, we don't know that they could beat Indiana or Ohio State. They might. They haven't had the opportunity to do it.
Real. What would Indiana's final regular season record have been had they played an average SEC schedule?
They would have gone either 12-0 or 11-1.
Well, I'm surprised he's saying that, Mark.
I'm pretty objective. I'm more objective than people are willing to give me credit for.
Well, regardless,
Indiana's the best team in the country by a clear margin right now.
Yeah.
I just thought Miami was a bad matchup for them. And by the way, if you look at the analytics, Miami should have won the game. According to the analytics, Miami, if you play that game out, would have won 60% of the time.
Well,
So Indiana got fortunate in some certain spots. They had some fluke plays, some anomalies go their way. But that's part of the game. And that's why.
Yeah, they figured out a way to win a game even when they were undisciplined and they played contrary to season character, what they had done all year long.
I think we got to give Miami a little bit of credit for that as well. I mean,
I'm not giving them any credit for false starts I'm not giving them any credit for that stuff. For stupid. I'm talking dumb lack of discipline plays, false start penalties, procedural stuff. Roughing the passer penalties. that kind of thing. Those are the types of things those are just unforced errors.
That's fair. I think the block punt was a Miami massive mistake. I don't think Indiana played a significant role in that play. I think the missed field goal was an unfortunate event. He makes them more than he misses. That's probably a 70-30 kick that didn't go his way. Would have completely changed the complexion ending of the game. So,
by the way, but just one more final point. The reason I want to make sure I emphasize that this is not just all black and white when evaluating criteria is because no one in their right mind is going to act like Minnesota's win over New Mexico in a meaningless bowl game is equal to Northwestern's loss to Tulane, like value-wise. But they played G5 competition, one lost, one won, but it's not black and white, right?
I'm glad you get it.
Well, I'm just
There's
saying.
a lot of people who don't understand that, Corey. There's a lot of people that go by, you are what your record says you are. There's a lot of people, like, I'm not sure if you saw the AP poll final rankings come out today. Has Alabama at 9, Texas, or BYU 11, Notre Dame 10. And they're like, how is a 4-loss Bama team at 9? Because they're better based on the resume and metrics than everyone below them. That's why they're at 9. Despite 4 losses. Iowa at 4 losses is 15. You know why? Because despite them having 4 losses, they're one of the 15 best teams in the country. Because their losses against Oregon and USC validate them more than most wins throughout the entire season.
Yeah. And if Iowa had the same exact record, but they lost those 4 games, all 35-0, they should be evaluated differently.
Right. They should be unranked.
Yeah.
But that's the big crux of it now between the SEC and the Big Ten. Is the SEC is reportedly wanting more metrics-based systems in determining strength of record, strength of schedule, and measuring performance, whereas the Big Ten mainly wants to go by record. That's what it seems like that's being reported out there. So.
All right, Ariel, we appreciate you being here. We will continue the debate, and I will unveil my conference rankings here in the next few days.
Yeah, no problem. Final thing I'll say, Mark, is the SEC, you say I'm giving no crap. Easily worst playoff bracket. How about a 16-team playoff bracket with a double bye?
Okay. All right. We do have another caller. Corey, are you still with us?
I probably need to slide.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, I'm going to listen into your conversation with our next caller because I am curious.
Before we continue here, and Corey, thanks for being here, everyone, from the Hawkeye of the Storm with Corey each and every day, Iowa football, men's and women's basketball.
I just want to appreciate all the outpouring of support we've had over the last few days once we announced that this was our season finale, and just the outpouring of support. And I know it's hard, it's difficult. There's things that in life that are hard, and this, not being able to do this show every week, just tough. So I don't want to get choked up. If I keep talking about it, I might.
Yeah. That's why I didn't mention it, Corey. That's why I just left it alone. If we could widen the camera shot, you would just see bouquets of flowers, roses that have been sent to me here.
Yeah. Quick, don't forget Adam's super chats. He's got a couple of supers in there for you.
We're headed in that direction next.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Corey. The great Corey Brada from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Again, this is the Big Ten Live Show. This is our final edition for 2025-26 to wrap up the college football season and the Big Ten's quest to be the number 1 conference in the nation, 3 consecutive national championships. And again, I'm going to break it all down, going to add up all the numbers and the metrics and the results on the field, I should say, more so than metrics, results on the field, to give everyone a clearer picture based on my perspective of the conference rankings. Let's, before we take this call, go to the super chats coming in from Adam. Thank you for the contribution, sir. Miami has no class. They make game-changing mistakes consistently, and then Beck imitates Drew Aller and throws an interception. Miami is mistake-prone, and that doomed them no class. Well, when you say that Miami makes game-changing mistakes consistently, I would say that I can't disagree with that concerning this particular football game against Indiana for the national championship, but it was kind of difficult for them to make game-changing mistakes that killed them because they won, 7 consecutive games before that. So it was kind of difficult for them to make game-changing mistakes before that in any way doomed them. Adam coming back with this one. Mark, Miami paid $4 million for this back fellow, and they got exactly what they deserved. Statistically, players, like people in other fields, revert to the mean when under pressure. His mean was mistakes, hence the interception. And it was a bit of a curious play in regards to, even though the safety broke, and even if Carson Beck was fooled by the safety kind of staying along that left hash and then breaking for the football, and really, of course, it was the cornerback who intercepted. The safety took a direct route behind the receiver and kind of made his route a direct line to meet the receiver at the break of the end zone inside the 5-yard line, that the cornerback undercut the football, and the football was underthrown. If the ball had been thrown well, then it probably was still a poor decision, but at least it would not have been intercepted, number one. And number two, the wide receiver would have had a chance to make a play on the ball had it been thrown back toward the back pylon. Carson Beck's made a couple throws this year in which it appeared as though he didn't have the arm strength to get the ball to where it needed to be. I don't know that was the case this time. All right. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Who do we have on the line here?
How's it going?
Hey.
Peter from Buckeyes Battle Cry. Hey, just wanted to tune in. Congrats to the Indiana Hoosiers. Wow, what a season they had. And nobody's chanting B1G over here. We're, of course, happy that the Big Ten is exerting some dominance in college football. We're happy for that. But you can't tell me that the Indiana Hoosiers are chanting Big Ten anything. They are basking in this moment for the first time in program history. And congrats and respect to them. But it's very clear that the SEC's era of dominance is over. The Big Ten era is here. It has arrived. 3 straight national titles, 3 different teams. The first non-Michigan or Ohio State winner since 1966, the MSU Spartans. That's a long time. And Oregon has a chance to do it next year. Ohio State, of course, is going to be in this conversation. But really enjoy you guys' show. Bummed I miss Corey. I always seem to miss him every time I come on. It's not often, but every time I miss him, he always has to jump off. So that kind of stinks. But it is what it is. I enjoy you as well, Mark. So
thanks, Peter. Appreciate you being here. Yeah. If we would have predicted who that third team would have been, different team. Of course, Penn State had the top 3 ranking. Oregon was right there. Indiana was a bit of an afterthought, even though they went 11-2 last year. Most people saw them falling off slightly. I know I picked them at 9-3, so I thought that they'd be a really good football team, but nothing close to what we saw. Sure. And what's disappointing for Buckeye fans, of course, is watching those 2 teams play and knowing that for as dominant as Indiana has been, even though they got pushed at the brink last night, obviously the 2 previous games were 5 touchdown wins, is that Ohio State couldn't push through at 17-14 in the fourth quarter to get it done. Obviously missed a field goal at the end of the first half against Miami, because Big Ten dominance would have really been undoubted had Ohio State done what they were supposed to do, and we would have had an all Big Ten final.
Yeah, and honestly, I think this is a bigger statement, because for so long it was the Big 2 little 8, Big 2 little 14, Big 2 little 16, but with another team rising up like the Hoosiers, and Cignetti and the Hoosiers are going nowhere, they will be contender next year. In fact, it just makes an emphatic statement for the Big Ten Conference as a whole. Not that I necessarily care. I don't like that Michigan won a title 2 years ago, even with an asterisk. I don't hang my hat on them winning anything ever, but it does look good for the conference. I was happy they lost to Oklahoma in humiliating fashion earlier this year. I don't want them to have success, but one other thing I want to get on. Oh,
Well, I was
go
just
ahead,
going to
Mark.
say real quick before you move on to your next topic. So, saying that said, once you put Michigan aside, are you rooting for the Big Ten? Do you root for the Big Ten?
In bowl season, yeah, I'm not anti Big Ten, and of course, when the ACC Big Ten Challenge in basketball was a thing, of course I wanted the Big Ten to win that, and I have very little animosity for other Big Ten programs, although I am slightly disinterested in the success of USC, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA, Maryland, and Rutgers. But they're newer members, they don't have the history or tradition. I mean, shoot, the last time, I think, you correct me on this one, but I think the last time the Big Ten won 3 consecutive titles was Minnesota in the mid 30s, 34, 35, and 36 when they three-peated.
Bingo.
Okay. I wasn't certain if that was correct, but just wanted to touch briefly on contenders for next year. We can start with the Big Ten, but obviously national title contenders is slightly more interesting. I think obviously Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State out of the Big Ten. Those are your top 3 teams. Michigan maybe is a contender. I don't think in year 1 or under Whittingham, but will be formidable moving forward. And then you look at Texas; they look dominant with Arch coming back, a bevy of wide receivers and offensive talent, and maybe improved defense. And then of course Georgia out of the SEC, maybe Oklahoma, maybe Bama, maybe, but I'm not putting them in my real contender list. And then I think you have to consider Miami as well as another contender out of the ACC once again.
So I'll serve up one other team for you as a possibility, and it's Lane Kiffin and LSU.
You think they can compete year 1? Yeah, they got the money and resources. Yeah,
Possibly.
it would be interesting. What are your thoughts on Lane? He's smarmy to me. I really don't enjoy his brand of college football and how he just ditched his team and his players that he was supposed to pour into and mentor, and just teaching them a lesson like, hey, I'm a dip when I want to dip.
Well, what is he doing that other coaches haven't done? And
Yeah,
what was he supposed to do?
nothing.
Yeah, so
I guess it's just a cumulative track record with me with him from this Tennessee days, the USC days, all those cumulative things here.
But let's understand, we've got a system here, and I'm not standing up for Lane Kiffin or apologizing for him in any way, but we've got a system where I don't believe that there's a complete remedy to this, but there can be things done with the schedule and the calendar to make it cleaner, that coaches are going to leave programs, and every coach that leaves a program to a certain extent turns his back on his players because he has recruited those players. Now, I think lesser so now with the transfer portal and the NIL era than in traditional college football, where that coach was in the living room and those players were committing for at least 3 years if they had that kind of NFL potential, but basically 4 years, and the coach was leaving after a year, 2 years, 3 years, and that player was, had made that commitment to that coach in that program. Now the players are all over the place.
It's a mess.
So these coaches,
I could talk a lot about that.
Lane Kiffin isn't doing anything different than any other coach. He just did it with a playoff team for the first time. And then we see the James Madison coach doing the same thing. But he coached his team through the playoffs. Now, Lane Kiffin, according to him, and I didn't hear any denial from Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin offered to coach Ole Miss through the playoffs.
It's a good point. I don't have a counter argument for that. That's a fabulous point. Yeah. One last thing, and I'll jump off, Mark. Just don't forget to buy Mark's book. I bought his book. I'm halfway through it right now. I would display my copy. It's just over that way. Yes. The Student National Champions, the 90s reset. Love it. Love it. Love it, man.
I appreciate that. That's very kind of you.
Yeah. Just read through the 91 season recap. Washington Huskies, man, what a squad they had. Thankfully, Desmond and Michigan were not a national champs at the end of that year under Gary Moeller. But yeah, fun recaps, quick nuggets, quick reads, easy reads, and a lot of fun to read.
Truth be told, there were 2 reasons why I didn't make this some kind of massive volume, because I would love to do that. Just this exhaustive. Number one, that wouldn't appeal to a lot of people.
It's true.
So I wanted to make it a quick read. And number two, it would have cost me a lot more money to produce the book if it would have been a lot bigger. So I wanted to make it a quick read, but still exhaustive and still cover everything. And then my other goal, Peter, and I really do appreciate you saying something, because I can sit up here all day and people are just like, yeah, he's going to say his book's great. But that I wanted to not make it a history book. And that's why I included all the projections about what conference championship games would have looked like today and the playoffs, the 12
And
teams.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy that aspect too. I'm a historical buff and historical guru, obviously quoting these stats from the 30s and Bernie Bierman's, Gophers. Like, what, I don't know anything about them really, except they won 3 national titles.
Yeah.
But I love the history of the sport, Fielding Yost, Chrysler, Woody, Bo, all this stuff. So I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I finally bought a copy and really, really enjoying it. 7 or 8 more chapters to go. So I'm going to dive into another one tonight. 1992 on deck.
There we go. 1992. Yeah. And I also enjoy looking at things like this, because I think most college football fans, as soon as I threw up the title Disputed National Champions, people, and this is understandably so, they just think about, the split national championships. Yeah, those are disputed.
97.
No, if you go through every season, almost every season can be disputed to some degree.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's really fun. And your intro and Dace's intro was poignant too, I thought, because it is one of those things that's an era that's gone by. The disputes and the debates must have been raging in the offseason all year long. Now, I know many Michigan and Nebraska fans may not live too close to each other, but I do remember a young Nebraska Huskers fan in my kindergarten class repping his team. I was like, wait a minute, I thought Michigan won the national title. He's like, no, we won it. I was like, oh, shoot. So anyway,
that's funny.
Really enjoying the book. If you haven't got it yet, this is your cue to get it. It's an affordable read, and it got to me really quickly and seamlessly. So, yeah. Cool. All right, that's it for tonight. Gonna jump off, but thanks for the opportunity. Yeah, go Bucks. God bless. We'll see you later.
Peter. Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye-bye now.
So there you go. I did not have to endorse my own book, and I actually have not mentioned this book in months. But now that we're in the off season, you have less football to watch. Disputed National Champions. You heard what Peter had to say about it, so I do appreciate once again his endorsement. We've not received any negative feedback on this. It's all documented to be, hey, love the book, love the read. It's a quick read, $9.99. How many things in life are $10 anymore? $9.99, Disputed National Champions. You can just go to Amazon and look up Disputed National Champions. This is going to pop up, or just go to the description section down below, and right next, I believe it's the top item in the description section. If not, it's the second or third option there. It'll say Disputed National Champions. It'll take you to a link right there, and you can order the book. We appreciate that. All right. Any other comments here in the chat? The real MVP's here. Thank you for that. Christopher Foote, I know at one point got bounced, and for whatever moderator bounced him, thank you for doing your job. I don't have any issue with anyone calling me an asshole. That's fine. It doesn't bother me. I've been doing this for way too long that it just doesn't bother me if anyone calls me any kind of names. But I would rather not have a situation where my guests, a co-host, a caller are being called such. That should not happen. Take your aim at me. I don't have any issue with that for sure. And again, DeReal, thank you for encouraging everyone to hit the like button, because the deal is that YouTube looks at that. So if 1,000 people watch this live stream, I think we had about 1,600 watch last night's show. If we get a high percentage of likes, then YouTube deals with that differently than if we get a low percentage of likes. So just please hit the like button on your way out. Well, Troy, you are on the money with that comment for sure. And you're kind of killing me right now, because I'm on a certain nutrition plan right now for about another 10 days that has me eating basically sticks and little else. Eating like a bird right now, but we'll make our way through it. So I've not had any Oreos for a couple weeks now, and that's a drought that I usually don't face. All right. Keep in mind that the Voice of College Football, every off season, typically later in the off season, but we wanted to get it out of the way for a couple reasons you will find out on Friday. We're going to do our State of the Voice of College Football. So think State of the Union address, but apply it to the Voice of College Football. And you've got the State of the Voice of College Football coming up Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be here I am going to sit here and talk until I have nothing else to say about this channel in particular and the entire network. I think I'll probably be here for 5 or 6 hours. I'm just going to keep talking just until I don't have anything left to say. There might be no one watching when I get done. You may fall asleep watching this and may wake up and I'm still talking. Whatever the case might be, if you have any interest in what we do here at the Voice of College Football, and keep in mind, this is the main channel. This is the national channel. This was the first channel, of course, and existed for a long, long time before we broke and branched out to produce other channels. I believe Miami was the first one. Ohio State maybe second, or vice versa. Then we went ahead with Michigan and others. That now we've got roughly 35 or 40 channels. About 20 of them are active. So it's an entire network. And I will explain what's happened here on the national channel in recent years. It's not necessarily been pretty, but I will explain what's happened here on the national channel, how that's been impacted or has basically impacted my focus on the team channels and what the future of the Voice of College Football looks like. And I'm going to finish off the show unless somebody else calls just by saying I see a number of great people in the chat. So I just have to recognize Troy's here. Moose is here. We've got GDSPE here. A lot of great people showing up. Yes, back-to-back national championships for the Big Ten. And a lot of great people here. Even Chris, hey, thanks for showing up so many times. Chris has probably commented, Chris or George, and maybe Adam, Miami fan Adam, have commented to this channel, not necessarily in the live shows, but overall, more than anyone. Of course, the real MVP calling just about every day. So I do appreciate Ed Rogers being here on most occasions. Andrew, thanks for showing up. Tom, you are certainly a great supporter. Adam, thank you for the super chats tonight and throughout the season. And again, our deal is that this is the last show that we're going to do for the Big Ten Live show for right now. So this is the wrap up to the season. You will not see Corey and I next Tuesday. Boo-hoo. I know you're shedding a tear. Fight the tears. Fight. Be strong. We will probably launch a different version of the Big Ten Live show at some point. Also, the weekly or the nightly college football show that we've been doing since going back to July. So I have been live. I've missed a few. Forgive me. I have missed a few, but basically live every night, Monday through Saturday since July through the college football season. That ceases to exist starting right now. So no live show tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I am going to be announcing a new off-season schedule here soon, and that's most likely going to come during the Voice of College Football, State of the Voice of College Football. And I'm going to go to work on top 25 that actually makes sense. And since that's the postseason edition, it's going to be the top 136. Going to rank every team in the nation. So that's our next content post. Going to rank the conferences, going to rank the coaches. I would love to take a deep dive into the transfer portal and go team by team and look at additions and subtractions. If it's worth my time, if you guys respond the way I would like, the way it needs to be responded to in regards to views and likes and all that good stuff, then I will be able to take off on that. But I will deliver conference rankings, final 2025 rankings, program rankings, all-time rankings, coaches rankings. Those are coming for sure, because I forgot about all-time rankings. I have kept a spreadsheet with about 15 or 16 categories and kept track and kept it updated season by season. I need to deliver the all-time college football program rankings as well. So we will deliver all of that. Sit tight. I am not going to tell you exactly when those are going to be delivered. I've had a number of other things that have taken my time away from the voice of college football. But we do appreciate you being here. And it was a glorious 2025 season. Congratulations to IU and another national championship for the Big Ten. We will see you soon. And most specifically, Friday night, 7 Eastern.